Hi there, welcome to the Full FX video log, or vlog, as the kids would say. I'm delighted to be joined by one of my favorite interviewees over the years, Dmitri Galinov, founder and CEO of 24 Exchange. Dmitri and I have argued about just about everything apart from the sun is in the sky, but we also agree on a lot of things. So Dmitri, welcome to the vlog. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
So 24 Exchange is just over a year old. Can you sort of talk, I mean, how's the year been for you? Has it been as expected? You know, I mean, there was a pivot halfway through, you know, in terms of your model. Can you sort of talk about that for us for a sec?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. Yeah, it's been obviously crazy year. It's the first year. It's super important when you build a platform. And what's interesting is for us is, you know, to answer is the year been fantastic. We beating all of our estimates. That we constantly upping the projections, which, you know, we all love, obviously. So just, you know, this past week, our average volume this past week is close to half a yard, which is absolutely amazing for NDF. Makes us clearly second biggest venue in NDFs. But, you know, what's interesting is that we started very differently from we are a year from the start. We really initially went to be many platform, and we registered in Bermuda, make sure that we don't have licensing issues, and we wanted to do many platform. But what we very quickly realized is that as we entered any country, is that there are local licensing requirements and so forth and compliance requirements that we have to adhere in order to deal with these clients. And then that's number one. Number two, in terms of credit, you know, if you have a many-to-many platform, you have to establish many-to-many credit, which is many credit relationships. And we said, well, that's going to take a long time, you know, for us to get the licenses in all the countries and establish operations and get the compliance people and, you know, all of that. And that's how kind of we pivoted to a single dealer platform. We said, well, what if we use a bank's infrastructure? Because, you know, a bank has offices in all major financial centers. They essentially, you know, do proper KYC, and, you know, they have people and they have proper licenses and so forth. And that's kind of how we pivoted to very close relationship with Standard Chartered Bank, which, you know, helped us tremendously with pivoting into that and very quickly converting into that model. And Standard Chartered turned out to be a perfect partner for NDFs because they have very significant reach into emerging markets, and, you know, and all these countries. I'll give an example. They're in India for over 100 years. So, you know, so obviously for us coming into India is much easier as a part of a bigger organization than trying to do it ourselves. So I think, and so that's one bit. The second bit was very important is credit. So rather than, you know, everybody establishing credit with each other, everybody had to just establish a credit with Standard Chartered, and, you know, they can start transacting in a very safe and compliant manner. So I think that was like big pivoting partner for us. And what ended up happening is we created, by doing it, a global single pool for NDFs, which never existed before. So before you had, you know, a pool in New York, you know, a pool in Asia, and, you know, and a pool in London and so forth. And there's different rules. There's CEF rules in New York, and, you know, different kind of rules in Asia, and different kind of rules in London. And it was very painful for people to operate in this environment because, you know, some people didn't have proper licensing everywhere, and, you know, and they couldn't reach all the liquidity. And so what our system does, it creates a single pool because, you know, with central dealer, everybody's facing Standard Chartered. It's a single global pool. It's an anonymous pool. and it's very easy from credit perspective. As I said, basically the limiting factor of that model is, we only take on clients that our central dealer takes on. So if the charter does not take on somebody, we don't deal with them. But so far, been very good partnership, and I think we saved years and dozens of millions of dollars in legal and compliance and operational costs by doing it. Number one, and number two, we created a competitive advantage where by doing a single pool, anonymous pool, we have better prices as a result, easy access for everybody, because now a lot of people can trade with each other that couldn't. So if you have a guy, in Philippines, and on the other side, you have a guy in Brazil, now they can trade with each other because both of them have a credit with Standard Charter, and before they didn't have a credit with each other. And so that created, a very, very aggressive pricing. And as a result, we have experienced very significant growth in volume. And we incorporate our pricing, whatever fee we have into our price. We charge a small technology fee, but there are some fees like for central dealer that incorporated.
Yep.
So generally, in terms of fees, if you have an EBS bill and you look at our bill, we generally half or less, which we consider EBS as our main competitor in this particular market.
Okay.
So we entered the market typically, at half of the fees what our big competitors do. And if we charge half, and then our prices are better, and it's a single pool, and it's anonymous, and we win a lot of business. So we've been growing very significantly. We become solid second biggest venue in NDFs. I think this pivoting to this single dealer platform, understanding that you can use the resources and infrastructure of a bank, of a partner, to deploy your services very quickly globally, it was very important factor in success of last year.
How does it work with US names? Obviously, you mentioned the CEF rules.
Yeah, so with US names it works perfectly because Standard Charter is in the US.
Okay, so that goes through there as well. With
all the US rules and regulations. So if somebody is a client of Standard Charter on 24 Exchange, who is, that the client domiciles in the US, Standard Charter as a swap dealer, when the trade occurs, performs all the proper reporting to the regulator about the trade at midpoint, and certain other information that the regulators require. So as a swap dealer, Standard Charter fulfills all of that, and they have infrastructure to do that, right? They have the infrastructure, they have people, and that's what's the beautiful thing versus us building it from scratch. Yeah,
indeed. So I think probably a week or two ago, you sort of added to one of my biggest bugbears, which is like, I kind of look at the spot FX market and think this is the most fragmented thing in the world. It's ridiculous sometimes. And you just made it worse. You launched Spot 2 weeks ago. I mean, so a couple of things about that. I mean, why did you launch Spot, I guess? What's your ambitions for that business? Also that you launched it with 6 decimal places, which, again, is something that I look at and think, where does this stop? Can you explain sort of your thinking behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, why did we launch Spot? So for us, it was very natural. It's the same system. So the system that we have that trades NDF, it's capable to trade Spot. So it's natural extension. The same API, it's the same client. So for the clients, when we turn on Spot, they're like, okay, and they started trading. So it was very, it was very easy for us because if somebody trades NDFs, they trade Spot.
Yeah, fair enough.
And we offer it over the same API. Standard Charter is the central dealer. It's all the same setup, super easy, the same, credit line, nothing to do. So I think one of the reasons we entered into spot market is just because of the very low marginal cost for us to do though, which is, close to zero, really. But what we wanted to do is, and the reason we went to 6 decimal places, it's and thank you for asking this question, very important. We quote, in terms of quoting, if somebody, we only do it in 5. We went to 6 decimal places because we're incorporating our fees into the trade. So we decided for spot, we decided not to send bills at all and deal with, collections and stuff like that. And we behave very similarly to like most of the banks and brokers behave. You see the price, you hit the price, a lot of, all the fees incorporated. And so what happened is just, we are, pretty cheap. So we are not expensive venue. And the minimum variation, for euro dollars, is $12, $13. And we charge much less than that. So we had to go to the extra decimal place because we didn't want to charge as a separate bill. We just want everything in the price. But we had to go to extra decimal place because of our low fees. So we didn't want to, we wanted to charge a few dollars per million. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, but I think the good thing is, a lot of people where they, explicit fees, they make a difference, right? So let's say when they connect it for, as you said, 20, 40 venues, and, half of them charge additional, bills and for the market data, for the connectivity, for trading transaction, for cancellation, God knows for what, right? Or just because Bloomberg terminal and you're trading, there is also a fee now beginning this year. But with us, it's nothing. You see the price, you hit the price, it's all incorporated. And I think it's much cleaner. And also it makes it much easier on us. Yeah. Because think about it. We don't have to go search after the bills. Our clients don't have to go reconcile the transactions. They count like the collections. This is all adds money and adds cost and adds time on both sides. So our motto is to say, what is the cheapest way? What is the most effective way for the counterparties to trade with each other? Right. And we think that really putting everything in the price and have a clean price is the way to go, because it just takes out the whole accounting, collections, reconciliation component, which gives a headache, not only, accounting people in the banks and with us, but also the trading desk very often.
Yeah. So rather than brokerage fee, you should call it admin free. Trading. I mean, so does this model then mean that you can sort of, offer different connectivity options? Because it strikes me you could.
You mean free connectivity options? Yeah.
Well, just like maybe connecting people to different liquidity pools.
Well, yeah. So we actually are working, and as you know before, we are working with we reached out to many liquidity pools to cross connect, and actually we're getting quite response. So we actually, believe it or not, some of our platforms are pretty open to cross connecting. And I come from the world of equities, and in equities, people cross connect much more easier than in FX for some reason. And I operated a big bank platform, and I built called Crossfinder, which is largest dark pool. And at Credit Suisse, we connected to other dark pools with other brokers. We didn't have to, but we wanted their liquidity. We wanted to see their client flow. And if we interacted, everybody would be happy because the client would find liquidity, that broker would make the fee, we would make the fee, our client would find liquidity, happy days. And so we do is we reached out to all different pools out there, and we said, look, we want to connect with you. We want to share our liquidity. We want to see your liquidity. And we are having success with some pools. I will not name which, but we are. They are
So
household names that you mention all the time.
yeah,
So,
okay. I mean, so basically, then, so because obviously they're not, they do charge a brokerage, so that basically just gets put into your 6 decimal place spread.
exactly, yes.
Okay, right. That's okay.
Well, for us, we want to create as many nodes on our network as possible, right? If they
Yeah,
have a client who wants to buy, and we have a client that wants to sell, yeah, there's a little extra brokerage on their side, but there's a trade. The clients will be happy by, and everybody will be happy by doing the trade. So we feel that it's a very good exercise for all counterparties to do that, and some people feel the same way.
yeah, yeah. So let's look at what comes next then. When you launched as a sort of multi-asset class exchange, and obviously these things take time to work through. Where do you see 24 Exchange going, over the next couple of years?
Absolutely. I mean, for one, the spot has been very successful. Honestly, I'm shocked how successful the spot is. But on the positive note, and was, and I think because I'm not doing it the first time, like if you're doing it like, something the fifth time, it kind of gets easier and faster. But I'm still pretty shocked how well we're doing, given how fresh it is and stuff like that. So I think given the early kind of progress on spot that we have made, I think spot is going to be very big. Surprised. I'm sure you're going to be you're going to be surprised. We'll see, but that would be my prediction. And also, what we really we like to go somewhere where there is no competition, or very little competition. And that's why we went into NDFs and really, kind of solve this problem.
Yeah.
That's where we like to go. And, spot, it was just easy add-on kind of thing. But I think the next thing is really for us is the swaps. I think there is really not much competition in the electronic swaps business. And there is definitely need for another platform out there for the dealers to trade with each other and so forth. So the next big thing for us is rolling out swaps, which we're planning to do next month, which is weeks away. And this is something that has never, frankly, has been done before. We're going to have a mixed model. So for long dated swaps, we're going to have a central dealer model.
Okay.
For shorter dated swaps, it's going to be more kind of bilateral, and we're going to really give it away for free. We're not going to make any money because it's the market is so tiny, so it's going to be really accommodation. So we'll give it away. But the longer dated swaps would have a central dealer, and there's going to be electronic market. You can get the streaming price, and and you can do RFQ and so forth. And what's going to be and then what's going to start be interesting to do is we start combining the swaps and NDFs bit, right? And do different dates, what's more efficient, and so forth. So I think, the rest of this year is going to be very, very exciting for us to grow further NDF business, which obviously, that nobody matches us and capabilities. Is going to be absolutely phenomenal, I think, and growing spot business on the back of it, and really launching something new and brand new in swaps. And look, what we do is we approach each market very methodically. Like we don't go to a market for just no reason. A lot of people just go create a product and hope for the best. Most of the time for us is spent in terms of effort of the team is the analysis. Should we go into the market? Who is the competitor? What can we charge? What are the problems? How do we get to the clients? What are the technology options? All that stuff. So if we go to the market, it means that we have analyzed it, probably between 6 to 12 months, and put very significant resources into which asset classes we're doing, what kind of a product it is, who our technology partners are, and each and everything we pick very, very carefully. And then basically once we do that, then we get the support from the makers. We have great partners in terms of banks and the clients.
Yeah.
So, but it repeats the same way, you know, it's a process.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same process. We go, you know, no matter what we do, and we're planning to expand beyond the foreign exchange. We're looking at 3 asset classes to launch this year.
Okay.
Which are cryptocurrencies, fixed income, and equities. So just imagine, you know, in some cases we will build organically, in other cases we will buy a company that already has business and, you know, and modify it. But we have very, very aggressive plans beyond just a foreign exchange asset class. Well, because it's so easy, you know, it's so easy. You already have customers, everybody speaks fix, it's the same thing, you know, and I think to expand it, you know, it's going to be pretty easy. And that's how, to me, if you look at, like, I really view the world, you know, and this is one of the reasons I created 24 Exchange. Like all these banks and all the big dealers, everybody speaks the same language. It's called FX. You know, it's like, and the variation between, you know, futures contract or FX contract equities is 2%. It's like if you are from Milwaukee versus you're from Boston, your English.
Yeah.
You know, this, and because they only understand each other, right? So to me, it's like there is no need to have all these exchanges and, you know, infrastructure and the legal costs and the risk and, you know, all that stuff that's worth tens of billions of dollars in cost to all the dealers in the middle of them, because they all speak the same language. It's all electronic, and, you know, it should be very, very cheap. And so that's our aim.
I'm glad you explained it that way, because I had visions of your technology team throwing themselves off balconies when you sort of said you can launch all that stuff this year.
Oh, no, we will. We certainly will. You'll see. Well, again, we have multiple technology teams. So for us, we are a market operator. So we have a specific skill to operate. So technology team is separate. We might have our own technology team. We might buy technology team. We might outsource technology team. We might go into partnership and JV with somebody.
Yeah.
It depends on the market, depends on who the client base is, what the time to market is. So we pick and choose kind of how we do it. But we certainly, that's our plan this year. So we're certainly planning on executing.
Well, you know, as you know, I'm someone that doesn't feel the spot market needs another venue, but you proved me wrong before. So I wish you luck. It's like, I mean, I certainly think, I mean, I do think there's a lot of opportunities out there. I mean, I've said before, swaps is a huge opportunity, I think. And, you know, swaps goes into STIR, which goes into fixed income. You know, there are linkages there, as you say, aren't there? So on that
fixed income is a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, fixed income, the more I learn about fixed income, the more excited I am. There is really monopoly on fixed income between 3 venues, which is Market Access, TradeWeb, and Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Those venues are very, very expensive and they worth a fortune. And it is absolutely crazy that the state of fixed income and the possibilities of fixed income is big. It's not only US Treasuries, right? Yeah. Every country has fixed income and they all in different currencies. And this is what's really cool about, you know, this is what we're excited about, you know, about our partnerships, you know, with banks like Standard Chartered, you know, and other big banks where, you know, you have a fixed income product and then you have a currency component to it, right? Or you have a stock product and you have a currency component. And now on one trade, you generate, example, currency revenue, fixed income revenue, or currency revenue, equity revenue, or currency revenue, crypto revenue. And, you know, and this is all done on the computer 24 hours a day in a very cheap way. So that's kind of really, that's what excites us and our partners. and our backers and the clients. So and we're going to deliver, efficient, cheap solution that's working, that's solid. I mean, right now, like, look, even in the crypto business, I will tell you this: there's no technology that's like institutional grade. Like on the ECN front, the one that's close is LMAX, but outside of ECN, there's no like PB technology, and in terms of capabilities and failover and APIs availability testing, backup, like all these big exchanges that worth, crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
The crypto exchange worth more than all other exchanges combined. They can't even handle institutional business. So we're very excited about institutional business because we think that we and especially our integration with Cobalt, which is very, very important in that progression, because you need technology like Cobalt in order to make institutional crypto business success. You absolutely have to, because of volatility, and the margin required and so forth. So I think we have a real opening. Us and Standard Chartered Bank, obviously they announced that they have a custody business, and it's an open creating an institutional market, because the existing exchanges, crypto exchanges, they have been very retail oriented, and institutional business very different.
Which I guess is what LMAX is trying. LMAX is eating into now, isn't it? I mean, there is someone there trying to do this as well. So what you're saying is, you're looking at that traditional model where there would be competition in the space.
Well, look, we're looking forward to competition. Look, we don't want to be the only one, right? You want to have few venues. You don't want to have in any space. You don't want to have one venue. You want to have like 3 or 4.
Yeah. Okay.
I think to me, that's the most efficient in any space. Like you have 3 or 4 big venues that compete with each other, that provide low cost business. That's kind of an efficient market to me.
Yeah.
But so look, if to me 1 venue is not enough, 2 venues are not enough, 0 venues are not enough. But when it gets to 3 or 4, then it's good. And then going back to Spot, look, for us, we just threw it as a free service, right? We just said, okay, here we go.
Venues aren't enough.
so I know you were going to ask, so I just previewing your question. But,
no, you're fine. It's fine.
And also, so there are a lot of openings that we see, and so we did, and I'm saying it's not because I just said it. It's just we did like 8 months of research, our whole team, and our advisors. So that's kind of so that's the background. So we looking forward to roll out those asset classes, and as we go along and we get bigger, more asset classes to help dealers to interact with each other cheaper.
Yeah.
Our goal is for everybody, every dealer in the world, to trade everything with each other in less frictionless, with as least friction as possible.
Yeah.
So that whether it's cost or regulation or ease of use or or anything, and I think it has to be all electronic, because electronic trading is certainly cheaper and it's more reliable, and it's in a way it's more auditable, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have a record what computer did and where it sent the order and why. And to me, we're just going to provide this wholesale solution to the market in multiple asset classes.
Well, I wish you luck with it. I'm trying to work out who the fragmentation person would be in fixed income. Who can argue with you about fragmentation in fixed income?
I will tell you, the more I had no idea about fixed income till like 10 months ago, right? Zero. Like I didn't know anything about foreign exchange when I started FastMatch. I had zero knowledge. But fixed income is exciting animal, man. Oh my God. Very exciting for our team.
I wish you luck with that. Dmitri, thanks for joining me today. It's, as always, it's great fun to chat to you, and hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Thank you. Cheers.